Alrighty, class. So today what we're doing is Chapter 3. This is Section 4, and the name of this section is Multiply Integers. So, before we get too far into this, we have to remind ourselves of the different ways we can write a multiplication problem. So, here's the one you're probably most used to, with the little x. Here's a way you probably saw for the first time in 6th grade, maybe 5th, with a little dot. Notice that dot, it's not a decimal point, it's not down here, it's midway up. It's multiplication. And here's another way that you may have recently saw for the first time, and that's when something touches parentheses. Anytime you have a number or letter touching parentheses directly, that means multiplication. Not to be confused with when we have addition or subtraction problems. For example, if I wrote this down, you wouldn't know if this is adding, subtracting, adding a negative, or what. But if I had parentheses here, it's kind of like the comma of math. If I had parentheses here, you'd say, okay, that's 2 plus a negative 3. And the answer would be, of course, negative 1. These parentheses separate an operation from a negative sign. Well, if there's nothing between the number and the parentheses, that means if the number's right up against the parentheses or the letter's up against it, that means it's multiplication. So be aware of that. Now that we know the different ways that we can write multiplication expressions, on to today's lesson, multiplying integers, so positive and negative integers, we've got a simple rule with 2 parts. You're going to look at the signs on both the numbers that you're multiplying. And if you have a problem that has, 3 or 4 things in a row being multiplied, just do it in chunks of 2. If the signs are the same, then the answer is going to be positive. If the signs are different, then the answer is going to be negative. Now, an easier, or hopefully an easy way for you to remember this is to think about relationships. Maybe you meet somebody new as a friend or something. One of the first things you do is you talk about things that you like and things you don't like. So when you're talking, if you realize that you both like the same things, you'll get along. It'll be a positive connection, positive, relationship. If you realize maybe you just hate all the same things, you're still going to get along. It'll be positive. You'll just hate things together. But if you feel differently, if you like something and the other person hates it, or vice versa, you're not really going to get along. It's going to be negative, and you'll probably part and go your separate ways. So, for example, I'm going to give you mathematical examples, and then I'm going to give you a relationship type example to make it easy to memorize. So, first example. Both numbers are positive. Here we have 2 times 3. Both numbers are positive. So the answer is a positive 6. Here we have negative 2 times negative 3. Both of these integers have the same sign, so the answer is going to be positive. And the last example, we have integers with a different sign, and the answer is negative. So let's give some context to this, okay? Let's pretend these are people. You like Taylor Swift, your friend likes Taylor Swift, you're both positive, so the answer is positive. Next situation, negative and negative. You hate something, I don't know, let's say you hate mustard. Your friend hates mustard. You're going to get along and, go hate some mustard together. So the answer is positive. You're going to get along and be like, yay, let's all hate mustard together. We get along, we're great. We both are negative. Now, this last example, okay? Let's say you meet somebody else and you're like, hey, the person's like, I like mustard. And you're like, well, I hate mustard. Well, one's positive towards mustard, one's negative. The signs are different, you're not going to get along. Negative relationship. Like, I like mustard, I hate mustard, and I hate you. Negative, because the signs are different. So, same signs equals a positive answer. Different sign equals a negative answer. And hopefully that stupid example with the relationships and meeting people helps you memorize this. So, next we're going to do a little bit of practice, and I'm going to put some questions up here, and I want you, I'm not worried about the numbers. I'll use small numbers that are really easy so you can just do the multiplication in your head. I'm worried about the sign of the answer. So I'll put up some right here. Let's say I had 1 times 3. Both of these signs, are they the same or are they different? Class, same or different? Same. So the answer is positive. Let's do the next example. Let's do 1 times negative 4. Class, are the signs same or different? Different. Class?
Different.
So the answer is positive or negative? Negative. Good. Next. 2 times negative 3. Same or different signs?
Different.
So the answer is? Negative. Good. Let's do another one. 1 times 5. Signs, same or different?
Same.
So the answer is? Positive 5. Good. Next one. Same or different signs?
Same.
So the answer is? Positive. And let's do one more. Same or different signs?
Different.
So the answer is? Negative. Good. Okay. So, next part. And this is hopefully a review for you. If it's not, make sure you're paying close attention to this. And this is exponents. Okay, exponents. The non-technical definition is exponents. They're little numbers. They're the ones in the top right corner. And the little numbers, they tell you how many times to write the big number in a multiplication problem. So I'll give you a couple examples. First example, let's say we had 5 squared. This is 5 to the power of 2. Fancy word for it is 5 squared, and I'll explain that name in a later section. And basically, this little 2 tells us to write the big number that many times. So this is going to be 5 times 5. Notice I have 2 of the big number, because I have that little exponent of a 2. And 5 times 5 is 25. Next, 5 cubed. And again, I'll explain that fancy name cubed in a different section. Don't worry about it for now. You can say 5 to the power of 3, that's fine. How many times do you think I'm going to write my 5 here? 3 times, you're right, because of that little 3. So 5 times 5 times 5. And that equals 125. Now, since we're dealing with positive and negative integers, you know a negative one's coming. Negative 3 squared, or to the second power. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to write negative 3 twice. So, negative 3 times negative 3. 3 times 3 is 9, and since the signs are the same, the answer is positive. And now, we're going to do one of the most complicated examples we can. Negative 5 cubed to the third power. How many times do I write negative 5, class?
3.
3. Now, when you have more than 2 integers written in this problem, go step by step, doing 2 at a time. What I mean by that, so let's look at these ones for example first, these first 2. Just these first 2 that are kind of boxed in here. Well, 5 times 5 is 25. Are the signs here the same or are they different? Same. So the answer is going to be positive. Now I still have this last little bit to work with. That didn't go away yet, so I got to solve this. So now I have 25 times negative 5. Well, I'll tell you that 25 times 5 is going to equal 125. But right here, are the signs the same or different? Different. So the answer is negative 125. And that's it for multiplying integers and exponents.